Number one, Ibble Dibble here. Hello, friends. So, in readying for the coronation, lots of news outlets went through the royal rubbish and recycling bins looking for something, anything they could air to profit off the momentary uptick in royal interest. So, of course, H&M have gotten some new eyes on them in the form of mainstream reporting. Today, I wanted to chat about the Envoyé Special Archewell exposé, and of course, the 7 News Spotlight world exclusive final interview with the Markles. In my next video, we'll chat about Meghan's new face on her TED Talk appearance and Meghan's new pink suit at the Lakers game, because they are the embodiment of plastic recycling and ugly garbage, respectively. So let's start with Envoy Special, the French TV program. Nothing new was revealed in this report. The main revelations were, number one, there are no paparazzi in Montecito Village, near H&M's house, or near their office in Beverly Hills. No one has seen them, no one is looking for them. Their security and paparazzi concerns are complete fabrications. We knew this. Number two, H&M don't respond to interview requests from real journalists. There's either no one on their team to respond to these requests, or they've also been directed to not respond to interview requests from real journalists.
Au commencement, on a d'abord essayé de les contacter. Des centaines de mails, des dizaines d'appels, et malgré tout ça, silence radio.
They only issue their own PR statements. If they give a certain publication or reporter an exclusive, we now know for sure, absolutely, that it's because it's a prearranged fluff piece they have editorial control over. Again, those of us who have been in this game knew this. Meghan writes her own interviews. She has, shall we say, a way with words.
Pinch me moment, seat at the table. Inclusion, legacy will be full circle.
An unmistakably unique voice.
Access. What can we do? What can I do? Representation, global community.
A signature style.
Sidebar. Incredibly inspiring, necessary impact.
She inhabits a literary universe of her own creation.
Dear Sir, last week at my school, we decided to watch the news for social studies. While changing through the channels, we saw a commercial for the new Ivory clear dishwashing liquid.
In her fictional universe, she uses a constructed language.
It is just an absolute privilege. I'm going to double down on that. I'm incredibly humbled.
To comment on constructed cultures.
I changed that commercial from my little handwritten letter.
So when we come across an article in Variety or The Guardian, that sounds like it was written by rude aliens.
Plainly, this affluent couple have choices, and an exit from royal life could liberate them, at once, from vindictive relations and their press facilitators, to say nothing of their current destiny as lifetime specimens for bodily and other analysis. Plus, we'd finally find out if anything would make the Markles happy.
We know why. This charming Frenchman goes to the Archewell headquarters, which are empty, presumably because everyone works from home, and by the looks of the Archewell tax return, no one works much at all. Only 2 donations were made to their foundation, one for $3 million and one for $10 million, ostensibly by H&M themselves as a tax dodge. Of that money, $2,810,000 was donated to charity. I've decided to do a whole separate video going through their 990 and telling you what money actually went to a good cause and what money was spent on self-aggrandizing bullshit, so stay tuned for that. But to sum up, only 21.62% of the money they raised was spent on any charity at all of any quality, other sketchy grifters with their own fake charities included. 70% of the 13 million, so 9 million, is still sitting in the bank. And for every $3 they gave, they spent $1 on quote unquote operating expenses, including public relations, legal, travel, and James Holt's rudely meager $65,000 salary as executive director. Envoy Special's numbers were off. They said 90% of donations were still sitting in the bank. That's not what I see. But what do I expect from a man drinking tea from a coffee pot The presenter claimed he researched the piece for 3 months, and can I just say, hi, can I get a French work visa? Because this level of reporting could only be the product of 3 months of liquid lunches followed by afternoon naps. If you have any French equivalents of H&M, please salary me for 3 months and then fly me to Paris to window shop and confront their office building security guard and cleaning lady, please. At least I got to practice la belle langue. I wonder if Meghan has learned enough on Duolingo to understand how merde they think she is, or if she required subtitles. Anyway, on to the Markle family reunion on Aussie TV. Again, no new info here. They showed us what we already knew. Meghan's family, the Markles, believes, as we do, that Meghan is embarrassed by her family and her class origins and figured if she was going to lie about it and exclude them from everything anyway, she might as well make up a dramatic rags to riches fairy tale that made her seem like a real-life Hollywood princess licensed trademark, so she could eventually sell the most garbage to the biggest sympathetic and/or aspirational audience she could appeal to. And also reasonably expect polite society to forgive her trash behavior as ignorance, not malice, and blame them and get her trash troll fans to incite class and race wars if anyone ever expected her to behave or conform even a little.
That outcome might be less promising, however, for the reputations of the very news groups that, seconds after identifying Meghan as breath of fresh air, decided she was also a hardened manipulatrix, cruel to her poor stalker of a daddy, with a way of being pregnant that really pisses off newsroom executives.
One thing I will give the Markles is they've got jokes.
We said we were going to grill the Markles. We really meant it.
We're definitely well done by now. Been grilled in the press for years.
The going rate for interviews like this is about $50,000 per person, and they obviously wanted to give the Aussies their money's worth, and it's cute. I like it.
What a bit of gator.
That's not gator, is it? Gator is really tough. It's like chewing on rubber bands.
Hear that, behavior panel? The Markles can't be on the redneck spectrum. They don't even eat gator.
I'm not going to say these people are redneck, but I'm going to say they're on the spectrum.
But seriously, someone take Samantha to Jacquimo's. She deserves it. I really like Samantha's eyebrow.
It is so enormous that it becomes not just a physical gesture, it's that icon of question, doubt, uncertainty.
I think she's pretty and opinionated and seems like she'd be a decent conversationalist at a wedding. Tom Jr. seems like a ruckus drunk, and I think he likewise would have been really fun. I think the Markles did a great job saying what the rest of us are thinking, showing how H&M's pretentious garbage is a joke already. No punchline required.
Put on our wellies to feed the hens Meghan and Harry recently rescued.
I've never in my whole entire life heard of a rescue chicken. Have you?
I actually don't think they would have or even could have embarrassed Meghan. I know Meghan feels ashamed of them. That's not what I mean. Harry and his family knew she wasn't someone of their class or culture. When Charles agreed to let Harry marry Meghan, expressly or tacitly by not cutting him off, he was probably more curious about the Markles than anything else. If the royals ever thought less of Meghan herself for snobbish reasons, they reached those conclusions the day they met her. Those weren't going to change the day they met her family. Meghan seems to think she's cultivated some sort of refined facade, and she is incorrect. She's quite clearly in it, not of it. She's also incorrect in thinking it matters to people very much anymore. Old money is spent money. There's not enough of it left to hang around with exclusively. People like Beatrice weren't friends with Meghan because they couldn't see past her smokescreen. They were friends with her in spite of it because she was probably an unbelievable ass kisser at their beck and call, and maybe a good time. Lots of rich, very high status people are just bored and want anyone to call and invite them anywhere new, introduce them to anyone new, have a reason to dress up and go out and have a good time. That's it. No one would have really cared if Meghan's dad was obese and off-putting and her half-brother was a drunk telling crass jokes and her sister was kind of a bore talking about the news and the music at the service. Lots of aristocratic families are exactly like that. What did she think they were going to do? Quiz her family on the paintings in the room? think a lot of the older guests would have liked to make their acquaintance for novelty's sake. They'd be fishing for dinner party fodder, nothing more malicious than that. I'd be shocked if anyone condescended to them or patronized them at all, and certainly no one would have the audacity to ever bring anything up to her later anyway, especially not in front of Harry. Even if her family was actually worse than that, like her dad was truly emotionally abusive and rude, her sister was nasty and vocally critical of other guests, and her brother made some unforgivably off-color remark to someone, I still think she underestimates Harry's friends and family. If her family was that bad and she managed to make it so far, they'd think more of her, not less, and understand and respect that she was only inviting her family for the big wedding day out of obligation. The problem with Meghan isn't her being American or middle class or biracial or an actress. The problem with Meghan is the huge chip on her shoulder. The Markles say all would be forgiven if she apologized to them, or at least just agreed to speak to them in private. They keep emphasizing in private. They said it several times.
Like I said, a simple apology, and it doesn't have to be in public. It could be, but just get it over with and relieve yourself of all that stress.
Let's go somewhere and talk. I'm open to any kind of conversation. Thank you.
I think they're looking for a payout, and H&M are too cheap to pay.
I have a letter. I don't know what I could do with it. I've offered a lot of money for the letter. I'll burn it before I sell it.
Doing Netflix, making $100 million, doing Spare, writing their own books. Who are the gold diggers? Who are the opportunists of family name and of family stories and of photographs and of, come on, that's the pot calling the kettle at its ugliest.
I guarantee that if H&M gave each of them $1 million, they'd not only shut the fuck up and go away forever, but would make themselves available as required to pose as her biggest fans in exchange for small cash gifts and travel reimbursements. I personally believe the whole building a relationship thing with her and her children is nonsense. I think her half-siblings know that ship has sailed, and Meghan doesn't have to fear them actually expecting a relationship with her.
Would you like to talk to her? No.
I don't think she would do it without a motive.
And her dad is just willing to accept whatever lazy lies she tells him, either because he still has a soft spot for her or for his own ego's sake.
It's a huge disappointment, and it's sad every day. They're going to have my nose, they're going to have my eyes. I know.
For appearance's sake, all anyone needs is a half-day visit once a year or even a tight 25-minute Zoom call if she seriously hates them so much she can't bear to breathe the same air. She is capable of doing anything, being anything, saying anything, writing anything, probably sucking anything, literally anything to get what she wants. She's a professional actress and gold digger, an aspiring socialite and entrepreneur. Grinning and bearing it is in her wheelhouse. Why is she finding this so difficult? I found myself wondering if Meghan likes things this way because she really is that cheap. She can't stand the idea of giving up less than 5% of her earnings, even if it's to permanently solve a serious image problem. Or is she not silencing the Markles because she loves getting to strangle Harry with that guilt?
Of course, it's incredibly sad what happened. She had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. And I shouldered that, because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad.
Or is it because she imagines everyone she wants to associate with is as disgusted by her family as she is, and therefore would naturally side with her anyway? Side note, they're not, they don't care. Or is it just because she hasn't gotten around to it? I feel like Meghan's daily schedule is wake up, consume some insane amount of vitamin and mineral powder blended coffee, veggie fruit smoothie, something, followed by 2 hours of insane business emails and phone calls, setting goals, making outlandish, unrealistic requests, asking for updates and berating her staff. 1 hour with a personal trainer, 1 to 2 hours of dedicated social climbing and/or attention seeking, and then either meeting Harry's emotional and physical needs if he's home, or getting high and watching rom-coms and online shopping. I think she backburners a lot of stuff the rest of us would prioritize, and her family is one of those things. No, I didn't forget her children. I don't think they figure into her day. What did you think of the Markle family barbecue? Why do you think Meghan has procrastinated resolving the situation? Do you think Megs will ever realize that her inferiority complex is the only kind of teapot you can uncrack? And why do you think Archewell bothers to lease such expensive premises? Presumably, H&M could just Airbnb another neighborhood mansion if they want to sign a deal. Maybe they could get a room at Chateau Marmont. I think Meghan knows her way around there. Last but not least, what kind of coronation video do you want to see? Best and worst? Fashion? Let me know in the comments below. Toodles! Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.